What's going on, everybody? OGR back with another Big Blue Courtroom, and I have a very special guest tonight, a guy that I've worked with a ton in the past. My man, Entertainah. How have you been this week, my man?
It is a pleasure to come on. I'm a little nervous. The Big Blue Courtroom. I feel like I might get interrogated. No, but I'm really excited to come on. Excited to hang out with Jeff. Got to meet Jeff. Went to the game together. Always been a phenomenal supporter of my channel. And a great content creator in his own right. So excited to get on here, talk some Giants, talk about whatever you want to talk about. And thank you to everybody for popping in. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Quick shout out to Sports Expert 101, Benjamin Newen, D Rose, diehard Giants fan, Jay Berman. Sabrina, what's going on, guys? Also, I know it was you in the library with the candlestick. I know
it. You got me, guys. You got me already. What's up, everybody? Diehard Giants fan, Nick. Thanks for being here.
But with the Redskin thing going on, obviously you reported on it yesterday. Give me your quick thoughts on the whole thing with the Redskins. Not necessarily the name change, but the actual allegations, and where do you think this will rise? Does Dan Snyder sell the team? Does he not sell the team?
I'm honestly, and I'm not saying what came out wasn't bad. It was horrible. I'm honestly surprised that it wasn't worse. The way that they built it up. I mean, you heard it on Twitter for weeks leading up to it. I thought it was going to be even worse than what came out. But what came out was obviously horrible. Snyder already had a bad reputation to begin with. And NFL owners didn't like him to begin with. Now there's reports coming out that NFL owners want him to sell the team. The minority owners have already said that they're going to back out. I guess guys that own a small stake in the team.
Yep.
I think there's going to be more and more mounting pressure for Snyder to sell the team. And I think in the end, I think he's going to. I think this is going to be a complete mess. And I think the fan base is going to force him out of there. So I do think, and if you're a Redskin fan, obviously you're not happy about what came out. It's embarrassing for your franchise. But I think it's the best for your team if you replace Dan Snyder. He's been probably the worst owner in the NFL. So in a way, it's kind of good news for Redskins fans.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way Ed Oliver had spun it on his channel the other day. Madry Simmons 101, Big Blue Wrecking Crew, Nick the Wick. I saw somebody else. Mike Nixon, what's going on? Oh, and NYG31, what's going on? But yeah, just crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Oh, and then somebody had a quick comment that I was just looking at. Oh, MH says, don't put Tanya in jail. Guys, in the Big Blue Courtroom, I am judge, jury, and executioner. So let's see how it goes. Clocks, what's going on?
What's up, Clocks? What's going on, Clocks? Thanks for being here, buddy.
So I'm assuming you probably saw my rebuttal to Clocks the other day.
I did. Very entertaining. Actually, he mentioned in a comment on my video today, and I'm sure he's going to want me to talk about my thoughts on the Baker and Gettleman situation. So,
oh yeah, I imagine.
Yeah.
So I always love asking. I've asked every single person that's been on this channel, what is your most underrated Giant of all time, and what is your favorite Giant moment? Most people pick Super Bowls, but hey, pick whatever you want.
All right. I'll say something other than the Super Bowl just because, like you said, everybody's going to say the Super Bowl. But if I'm being honest, it's the Super Bowl. But if it's something outside of the Super Bowl, it's the NFC title game against San Francisco. I say it all the time. I'm the biggest Eli Manning fan. Well, not the biggest. Cop Pizzle's the biggest. But I'm a very big Eli Manning fan. I love Eli Manning. And that was his signature moment. The way he, stood up and took all those hits in that game. So outside of the Super Bowl, outside of the Tyree catch, outside of the throw to Manningham, the catch by Burris at the end, I'll go with the 49er game where Eli got hit about 1,000 times and stood in the pocket. In terms of most underrated Giant, that's tough, man. I'm not going to go all the way back to the LT days. I didn't really get into
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, I think Corey Webster. A lot of people ask me that question. I think Webster's one of the more underrated Giants that doesn't get talked about enough. I'll go with him. He was a good player for the Giants. Yeah, maybe Roll, maybe Antro Roll.
So quick shout outs to my man, the Sports Reaction. And if you are subbed up to this channel or in his Entertainah channel, you must be subbed up to the Sports Reaction. Awesome, dude. Eagles UK, what's going on? Madry Simmons 1, what's going on? Waterfly, what is going on? I've already said hi to Nick the Wick. And yeah. What else? Okay, we'll do a little bit of projection here.
Okay.
If you were to pick, this is going to be a tough projection. When will the Giants win their next Super Bowl?
Oh, wow.
It's tough. I understand it. Obviously, the best guess would be 2021. I don't think we're going to say 2020, but I just throw it out there.
2020. No, I'm kidding. Realistically speaking, the earliest for me is 2022. That's the earliest. Realistically speaking, I think that's going to be our bread and butter, 2022, 2023, because you're still going to have Jones on that rookie contract. You hope he's more matured by then. A lot's going to depend on this season, though, how he matures, how the players around him mature. I can't really answer that question until I see, because this team is so young, and
Absolutely.
a lot of us are anticipating that they're going to get better, but we don't know that. We got to see it before. So I think we're definitely headed in the right direction, but I think we compete in 2021. I think 2022 is the first year where we really have a real opportunity to compete for the Lombardi Trophy. I'll say 2022, 2023 is what we're looking at, where we're going to have a real legitimate opportunity to win a Super Bowl.
Damian Strada, what's going on? And a couple of people in the chat mentioned 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. MH says 3,000, 2,100. So somewhere around there. So obviously the big news has been, at least for the Giants, probably all offseason, has been Rojas and Baker. Obviously you heard my rebuttal to Clocks. How do you feel? Do you believe Dave Gettleman is responsible for DeAndre Baker or not responsible? It is what's going on his fault, not his fault. There were signs with DeAndre Baker at Georgia. I'm saying basically my perspective is Dave Gettleman was taking a chance on a prospect that could really pay off if he panned out. And it's unfortunate that this man has decided to throw his life away, or potentially throw his life away. Obviously innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah. Well, I kind of said that in my video as well, a little bit. I did say that, I'll get into my full thoughts on it, but I did say that you look at a lot of the general managers in the league, they all take chances, kind of like what you said in your video. The New England Patriots took a huge chance, with Aaron Hernandez. And you go back, you look at that documentary, it was well documented, not necessarily that he killed somebody, but he had a lot of problems before the New England Patriots brought him in via the draft. So every team takes chances, but I'm going to get into why I think some fans are up in arms about it. But every team takes chances. The thing is, when teams win, you don't hear about it. Nobody talks about it with the New England Patriots because they were winning Super Bowls. They said, all right, get them off the team. We're still going to win. We have a winning culture, so on and so forth. The Giants have a bad team. And when a team is bad, people, fair or not fair, look to point the blame at the general manager. They look to point the blame at the head coach. In my personal opinion, if I'm being completely objective and completely unbiased, and listen, I'm a Gettleman fan. I try to support Gettleman because I feel like he's a piñata, and fans bash him any opportunity they get. If you're going to blame Dave Gettleman in terms of the act of what DeAndre Baker did off the field, what he's potentially going to be convicted for, that is ridiculous. There is no way he could have ever anticipated that. The book on DeAndre Baker coming out of college was that he had a poor work ethic. If you go back and see it after the fact. Now, it wasn't widely reported by the New York sports media, but that was the book, and then, of course, it comes out after the fact, after he's convicted, so on and so forth. So what I think is fair to get on Gettleman for, he preached cleaning out the culture. He got rid of Odell Beckham. He got rid of all these players that were supposed culture problems, which I thought was the wise decision. Now you're seeing articles of guys coming out talking about, Jeff Schwartz talked about it, how everybody was a rat, how it was a horrible locker room culture where he played there. So I get that the New York Giants had to clean up the locker room. My issue with Gettleman, and what I think is fair, it's not a fireable offense, but I think it's fair to get on Gettleman for, you have a guy here that was supposedly a culture problem in Georgia. Not only did you draft the guy, you traded up to get him. So from that aspect, I could understand getting on Gettleman for. Do I think it's fair to say he should be fired for it? No. Do I think it's fair? Do I think it's fair to even criticize him a little bit for what DeAndre Baker's being accused of? No, that's ridiculous. In terms of forgetting the playbook, sleeping in meetings, there was red flags that may have scared him off for that. So I agree with you in the sense that he took a chance, but I do get, if I'm being fair on both sides, I do get how he seems a little bit hypocritical when he was talking about the culture.
And I mean, if DeAndre Baker pans out, and let's just say it's another corner that's going through what DeAndre Baker's going through now, and it's not DeAndre Baker himself, like let's say Corey Ballentine, Giant fans aren't up in arms. It's just It just happens to be DeAndre. It stings that it's a 1, but at the end of the day, it allows somebody on the roster to bloom that wouldn't normally get that chance, because I think we all feel with what's going on right now that DeAndre Baker was going to be this, leading candidate to at least get the second position on the field, with considering the playing time he had last year.
Yeah, I listen. I'm excited about this defense this year, and I don't know how good they're going to be, but I'm excited for the new defensive philosophy. I'm excited for a lot of players on this team, but one position that is going to be vital is the cornerback position. When you have a defense that blitzes as much as Patrick Graham is going to blitz, you got to be able to cover. You got to be able to cover man to man, because you're not going to have a lot of help back there. They're going to be blitzing the safeties a lot of times, things like that. So if Baker's not back, somebody's going to have to step up at that position, whether it's Julian Love, whether it's Darnay Holmes. And I think that's the biggest X factor to this defense this year. They're going to need very strong corner play, and hopefully we get it. DeAndre Baker, to me, was one of the most important players for this year's defense. Now, Baker wasn't very good last year, so it's not like, we were kind of anticipating that he was going to get better based on the fact that he was a great college player. He was the first corner drafted in last year's draft, had a lot of potential. But one of these guys could step up. Hopefully Julian Love steps up. He played great with the Giants last year if he gets that opportunity.
Cox, honestly, to be totally honest with you, real quick to answer your question, why didn't Reese take chances? Well, he didn't even draft well. I mean, he didn't, and the chances he did take were guys that did not pan out or he overdrafted. So, yeah, actually, he did take plenty of chances and they did not pan out at all. I mean, Flowers.
Well, to me, it worked out. To me, it worked, and it worked out. And I'm not talking about in terms of off the field stuff, but JPP was a risk. Yeah. JPP was a combine warrior doing backflips and pads. That's why he jumped up. The Giants already had a filled out roster at the edge rusher position. It obviously turned out to be a good pick, but that was a risky pick. The Giants had a lot of good edge rushers at the time, and I remember the Giants getting widely criticized for taking Jason Pierre-Paul when they did, because they were strong at that position, and he went to USF. It wasn't, Jerry Reese took chances.
Yeah. Butcher Black Baker, talk what's going on. Obviously, I've already mentioned TSR, Afghanistan, oh baby, yeah, what's going on? And yeah, so at this point, I'll probably transition to questions, but if there's any other thing that comes up to your mind, go ahead and mention it. But
yeah, listen, man, I'll talk about whatever, man. I'm just here to have fun, talk Giants, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about whatever the chat wants to talk about. I just appreciate you having me on.
I honestly, this is a little bit off subject, but hey, my fantasy baseball draft's coming up this Sunday.
Okay.
And, you let me know about what's his face last year. I can't even think of his name.
Pete
right
Alonso.
Now.
Pete Alonso.
Yeah, you let me know about Pete Alonso. So if you got any secret weapon that's going to have a Pete Alonso type season, you're more than welcome to help me win my championship this year, even though we won't be doing it for money.
Mets this year. I'm going to tell you what right now, and I'm going to stream the Met game tomorrow. I'm excited for baseball.
I think we all are.
Mets this year, call me biased, Mets got a hell of a lineup. With the DH added in, I think the Mets are going to have a really good team. I really do. Now, the Syndergaard going down definitely hurts the starting rotation, but they literally have Ahmed Rosario batting ninth. Ahmed Rosario is one of the best offensive shortstops in the game. The Mets lineup is stacked with Cespedes coming back. They're saying he's healthy. I'm excited for the Mets. I think some people are sleeping on the Mets. I think the Mets got a really good team this year.
Yeah, well, and it should be interesting. I am, like I said to you, I messaged you on Twitter the other day. I was like, "Yo, if hey, I don't care if they open up baseball stadiums, we're going. Yeah, I'll wear a mask. I don't give a shit. We're going.
What's up, Brandon Rogers? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. But I can't
Johnny
wait.
T, real quick, Tana, you can answer this question. Johnny T wants to know what is a good horror movie for me to watch tonight.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna give you a newer one. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I watched it on the Fire Stick about a month ago. The Hunt. I talked about it in my movie stream today. The Hunt is awesome. It's a great mix of, if you're into politics, it's got a little bit of a political element, but it's definitely a suspense / horror, a little bit of comedy involved. Really good movie. Definitely check out The Hunt. It's about the elitists basically hunting down everyday people. But in the end, well, I won't ruin the twist, but really good. Definitely check out The Hunt.
All right. Sounds good. Metatarhan says, thoughts on the Giants cutting Baker, and if he goes and sign with a different team and becomes a shutdown corner.
Okay. If I'm the Giants, I am not I'm not cutting Baker until I know that he's guilty, or at least I'm pretty sure he's going to be ruled guilty. I don't think I would cut him otherwise, but the one thing I will say, they may, because they may view it as a distraction. This is a team now that didn't have him in the virtual meetings. They may view DeAndre Baker as a guy that's going to be a distraction for this football team, and they may move on, even if he's not ruled guilty. If it's kind of in the middle of the case before the season starts. I can't get on him for that. At the end of the day, I can't get on him for that. If that's the case, if they view him as a distraction, if they feel like they have to move on, I would hate to see him go to another team, like you said, and become a great football player. I personally hope they wait it out. And if he's guilty, obviously you move on. If he's innocent, give him another shot. But I don't know if that's what they'll do.
Word, what's going on? And Sports Reaction says, Fortana, who stinks the most? The Giants, the Mets, or the Knicks? I think that one's a very easy answer.
It's a very easy answer. Now, one thing I'll say, though, if you look at all three of those teams, you combined all their wins, they probably still don't equal the Yankees. And it's been horrible being a New York sports fan. New York sports were really good around 2000. I'm a fan of all three of those teams. I'm also a fan of St. John's basketball. They're horrible. I root for a lot of really bad teams. And of those three teams, the Mets are far and away the best right now. The Mets actually have a legitimate chance to go to the playoffs and compete for a World Series. The Knicks have no chance for the next 2 years at least. And the same thing can be said for the Giants. I don't think, even the most optimistic Giant fan, I don't think thinks they're going to a Super Bowl. But obviously throughout my life, it's the Knicks. I mean, at least the Mets got me to a World Series in 2000. They got me to a World Series in 2015. The Knicks got me in 99 and 93, 94, I think. But not in a very long time. And at least the Mets have had some competitive season. The Knicks have just been a complete and utter dumpster fire. And both those owners, the Mets owner and the Knicks owner, are two of the worst in all of sports.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's tough. It's tough to.
And if Mara keeps going, and Mara and Tish keep going on this trend, guess what? And they're going to be right there with them, as far as I'm concerned. Because everything I blame them consistently. But do you see the Giants bringing in any low cost vets? I would probably more or less assume at the corner position, but it could be at the pass rusher. But I mean, we already know we're probably getting Marcus Golden at this point.
Yeah, what's going on, Simon? Man, thanks for being here, buddy. There's a couple of aged veterans that they've brought up as possibilities. I think Cameron Wake's one of them. I don't want that. I think like you said, I think we're going to get Marcus Golden. And yes, if they bring in a veteran, I think it would be, like you said, at the cornerback position. If they're moving on from DeAndre Baker, Brandon Carr, I think makes a lot of sense. He's affordable. He's a stopgap guy. He's never been hurt. He's played every game throughout his entire career. I think he has experience with the Cowboys. So he could make sense. Obviously, we got Henderson, the former DB coach of Dallas, so he could make sense. If they bring in a small guy, I think it'll be at the cornerback position. I'm in complete agreement with you on that. Maybe I'll throw in a caveat to that. So obviously we've heard the story about Nate Solder. Nate Solder, he's got the sick kid. He's come out and basically said that he's not fully confident that he wants to play this year. If he were to sit out, maybe you go out there, you bring in another tackle. That's possible as well.
Yeah, that is. Asia Robertson, what's going on? She says, what's up, OGR? What's going on, Asia? Always doing well. Stand up, my sexy Tana, she says. And Philly 500 said, what up? What's going on, Philly?
What is going on, Asia? Philly 500. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you to everybody for being here.
I just got to – there's a good question that I just missed. Here we are. Big Blue Wrecking Crew says, 07 Giants versus 11 Giants. Who wins? Well, first off, I'll start by saying 1986 Giants beat every Giants team ever, period. But I'm going to go with the 07 Giants. I'm going to say the 07 Giants, I believe they really didn't have anybody that could really guard Plexico, and I also think they had a better pass rush. Their front four, I think, was a lot more vaunted. I'm going to go with the 07 Giants over the 11 Giants.
That's a really tough question for me. In terms of overall team, the 07 Giants are better. It's not even a debate. 07 Giants had a better offensive line. 07 Giants had a better pass rush. 11 Giants had a much better quarterback. So
07 Giants had a much better quarterback?
No, 11.
11, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's what makes it a debate for me. The Eli Manning was a much better. Did I say 07? I meant to say 11. Yeah. The Giants the second time around had a much better quarterback. So the fact that Eli Manning was he was a top 5 quarterback in the league that year. Nobody could deny that. Probably top 3. He was that good. 2007, he was kind of carried up until the playoffs, and then he, got in gear. It's really close for me, but I'll say this. I'm going to go with the 2007 Giants, the biggest reason being that team shut down Tom Brady. That team shut down the greatest quarterback who ever lived that year. That year, Tom Brady was the best single season ever for a quarterback. He couldn't move the ball against that Giants defense. So because of that, I got to go with the 07 team. Their pass rush was just way too good. And the Giants offensive line in 2011, I don't think has a chance against the Giants defensive line.
Oh, definitely not.
From 2007. So I think they get eaten alive.
Maybe the wrecking crew apparently thinks we should have said 11 because he says Eli in 11 would have found a way to beat the 07 Giants defense. No, sir, he wouldn't have. Because don't forget, the all-time sack leader for the Giants was on that team. One of my favorite players, the guy I'm actually wearing the jersey of with Michael Strahan. So
I just think I agree. Eli was leaps and bounds a better quarterback the second time around. And that's the only thing that makes this even a debate. But you saw what they did to Brady. You saw what they did to Brett Favre. You saw what they did to Tony Romo. And I just don't think that 2011 Giants offensive line could hold up against that 2007 Giants pass rush. And on the other side of the ball, I think the 2007 Giants offensive line can handle the 2011 Giants pass rush. So I think the Giants of 07 just killed them in the trenches. And I think they win.
Have you ever actually had that question? I mean,
I've gotten asked that on live streams. Yeah.
I've never heard that question. It was an interesting question. That was a hell of a question, actually. Well, another debate question, Simon Z, 07 or 11 receivers? I'm going to go with 11 receivers. I believe they were better overall. But as far as number one talent, I'm going to give Plexico the edge over Hakeem Nicks in that case.
To me, it's not even close. And both receiving cores are good. 2007, you had Plaxico Burress, one of the top 10 or 15 receivers in the sport, had a great, obviously, playoff, specifically the game against the Green Bay Packers. Amani Toomer was still a very good receiver. Steve Smith was a rookie who definitely contributed throughout the playoffs. They had a strong receiving core. 2011 is the greatest receiving core in New York Giants history. Hakeem Nicks that year, Victor Cruz had the greatest single season ever for a New York Giant at the wide receiver position. He had like 1,700 yards in 13 games. And Mario Manningham was a strong third receiver. Not to mention you had Jake Ballard, who kind of offsets Kevin Boss. It's not even close for me. I think the 2011 Giants receiving core is far and away better than the 2007.
Yeah, somebody wants to know, do the 08 Giants beat any Giants team?
They might.
They might have. They might actually beat the 07 team, be totally honest with you. Been there, done that. And even though it'd pretty much be a mirror image of each other, except for edge rush.
I think the 08 Giant, people might call me crazy. And granted, I didn't grow up in the era. The 08 Giant team gives the 86 Giant team a run for their money. Before Burress
before that is blasphemy.
Before Burress shoots himself.
Blasphemy.
Okay. The New York Giants in 08 were top 5 in offense and top 5 in defense. It was the most well-rounded Giants team probably ever in the Super Bowl era. I mean, that team dominated everybody. And I know everybody's going to say 86 because they won the Super Bowl. They're the best team. Okay, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Burress never shoots himself. The Giants were 11-1. They beat both the Steelers and the Cardinals, the two teams that met in the Super Bowl, by near double digits when they played them in the regular season. I believe both games were on the road.
Yep.
If Burress never shoots himself, that team goes 14-2. No doubt in my mind, they go at worst 14-2. Say they go on to win the Super Bowl, I think it's a fair debate. So
it is a fair debate.
I definitely think the 08 Giant team was better than the 07.
I do too. Because I think they were already together. I mean, we really had a chance to make a dynasty there had Burress never shot himself. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, pretty much that was the end of his career, right? I think he tried to come back.
And he played with the Jets for a bit.
Yeah. But never was the same player.
No, not even close.
There was one other question I wanted to answer. I must have missed it, though. Sports reaction. OGR Sports. My Spurs neat the Knicks. I think he meant beat the Knicks in 99, and then my Yankees beat the Mets in 2000. Sorry, Tina.
Yeah.
So he's saying in a tablecloth folding competition, the Spurs dominated the Knicks in neatness type thing. That's the way I took it. I don't know.
Wait, what was the? I'm sorry. What's the comment?
No. He meant to say beat the Knicks, but he said neat instead of beat. So I said tablecloth folding competition.
I got
it. It was a horrible joke. It was a horrible joke.
No, great joke. A great joke. But the Spurs would beat the Knicks at anything. Beat the Knicks, whatever you want to call it. Spurs are one of the greatest franchises ever. The Knicks are the worst. So they beat them at anything or need them at anything.
Top 10 Super Bowl winning NFL team all time. 86 G-Men for top 10 for sure.
I'd have to think about
that. Is tough.
I'd have to think about that. I'll
tell you that I don't know enough about the older teams. Like, don't forget the Packers won back-to-back Super Bowls back in the day. Like, do you put those teams, because you have multiple Hall of Famers, you have Bart Starr, like that really is tough. I mean, obviously you've got to give it to at least one Patriots team. I don't know which one you give it to. What are the 6 Super Bowl Patriots team? Maybe you have multiple on there.
The Steelers had some great teams in the 70s. The Cowboys, the Cowboys in the 90s were definitely better than the 86 Giants team, I think. That was a dominant team. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of all-time great teams, but I'll tell you one thing definitively. The 2012 New York Giants are the worst team ever to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
I could definitively say that. They are the worst team ever to win a Super Bowl. And I proudly carry that title.
Oh, and who wouldn't at that point?
Yeah.
Tana was OC if Tana was OC and Bad Dog was head coach, the 2019 Giants would have gone 8-8.
Maybe. I mean, I could try.
No, I disagree, because Bad Dog's hothead, he would have offended some player on the team, and he would have broken apart the locker room.
Well, Bad Dog, we get asked all the time who should be the head coach. Bad Dog always says it should be me because, like you just said, he's too hot-headed. He's more of a defensive coordinator guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Bad Dog would be the DC. Maybe I'd be the GM or the head coach, and then we'd have to have somebody else fill some of the other positions.
Honestly, I think Bad Dog gets suspended and actually for the rest of the season, because I think he's going to start pulling who was the guy that was paying money for hits on players? He was on the Saints.
Greg
Williams.
Greg Williams.
Yeah, I think Bad Dog put to Greg Williams. I want you to blow out Carson Wentz's knee now. I could see Bad Dog doing that shit. I really could. I love him, though. I love him to death. Awesome. Awesome Giants fan. Just fun to work with him, period.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I'll let you get these questions.
No. If there's one you spot out, go right
ahead. MH. Oh, no, never mind. That's not a football question. I said I would be the guy to find strippers to distract you. Okay, Benjamin. That sounds like something that the Patriots would do. They bend the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see. MH said, okay, I'll just favorite part of not shaving, OGR. I guess he's pointing to the fact that you haven't been shaving.
Yes. I mean, I still there's way more bush that's got to grow in, but
you're going. What are you going?
I'm just lazy. Honestly, it's just laziness. It's just pure laziness. I just don't feel like shaving at all.
Do you want like the Jesus beard? What are you going for? What look?
Nothing. I just whenever I feel like shaving, I will.
Usually
when I go over my mother's house and she's like, "You look disgusting. You look like a hobo." Fine. If it means I don't have to hear your voice, I'll shave. Jesus.
How long did that take you to grow that?
This probably a month. Like I don't grow very fast like people do, but go back and look at my videos. You can see the evolution. It's really fun. I should probably do that one day. Like make clips of myself, evolution of OGR's beard growth. Yeah.
All right. All right. Mike Nixon says, who was more talented? That you're right, Bad Dog. Bad Dog. My dad always gets on Bad Dog's case. My dad always gets on Bad Dog's case for not shaving. Bad Dog says your dad's got to come in here and get on OGR's case. Who was more talented, Plaxico or Odell? It's not close, I think. But go ahead, OGR.
Odell has more talent. Plaxico has the actual hardware to go along with it. And right now, if I'm starting a team, give me Plaxico over Odell.
I think Odell's definitely more talented. Burris, like you said, is obviously a more accomplished Giant for the simple reason he went to the playoffs multiple times, won a Super Bowl.
Hey, people would argue that we're wrong, though, because Odell has a ton of Giants records, don't forget. Records that even Plaxico himself has not set. So,
no. Some people definitely are. In terms of a talent, better player, Odell's a better player. But when I think of great Giants, when you mention the word Giant, and if you put a picture of Plaxico Burris and Odell Beckham in front of me, I'm picking Plaxico Burris.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, but in terms of a talent.
But if he has a pistol in his hand, are you kind of like thinking about that?
I kind of am starting to think maybe I should take Hakeem Nicks instead at that point.
No, when I think Giant, and obviously, in all seriousness, when I think of Giant wide receiver, by far, there are two come to mind: Stephen Baker and Amani Toomer.
Yeah. For me, it's Toomer. For me, it's Toomer.
Because Baker, I grew up with, and then Amani Toomer was just the absolute consummate pro. So
yeah, I love Toomer was great. I always thought Toomer was underrated his entire career. He was a really good receiver for the Giants.
I didn't even notice Bad Dog. So what's going on, Bad Dog? I did not see you. I apologize.
What's going on, Bad Doggy Dizzle?
Jawad got a show going on later with him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. We'll be over there. Jawad says, question, worst Giants game you guys have ever watched? Oh, I got a couple.
I got a couple, but me easily, because I was live at that game, and it was worse. I believe it is the worst home loss in our franchise history. The drubbing that the Rams gave us in 2017. I was live at that game. It was drizzling, and I was way up in the seats.
That was a really bad one. There was a Vikings game where I think he threw 5 picks, Eli. That was a really bad one.
I remember that. I was in a McDonald's drive-thru listening to it on the radio.
That was a bad game. But there's I'm trying to think. Obviously, the Eagles game, the last game of the season with the Miracle at the Meadowlands Part 2, that's bad. I'm trying to think of some really. Oh, I'll give you one. 2005. It's not like a heartbreaking loss. It was just such a horrible game to watch. 2005 Carolina Panthers first round of the playoffs, wild card round. John Fox was the head coach for the Panthers. He was the former defensive coordinator for the Giants. To my recollection, I'm pretty sure the New York Giants offense that entire game did not get past the 50-yard line. It was one of the worst games I've ever watched. So that one's up there for me as well. It was Eli Manning's first playoff game.
Yeah. So guys, I've added some moderators. I see somebody complaining about that. Guys, I don't go live enough to really need moderators. Everybody's pretty well mild-mannered in mine. I guess because they're afraid I'm going to rebut them if they don't.
Yeah, word of advice: don't give out too many. Then they start overtaking your channel.
Oh no, well I gave it to guys like I've actually literally met, like diehard Giants.
Yeah.
Dog, Sports Expert 101. If TSR is still in the chat, I'd give it to him too as well. But Ramadi already won, another good guy. Any other questions you see? Because I have plenty of questions for you. I don't really see any.
Yeah, shout them out. So let me get some questions. Ask me some questions.
Ask you some questions. All right. Rank me the offensive lines in this division, best to worst.
Right now.
All right. I'll make it easy for you in the Giants. Andrew Thomas will be starting at left tackle, so there's no debate there.
Cowboys 1.
Yep.
The Cowboys are still 1. Eagles are still 2 for me. Giants are 3. Redskins are 4. But I think
I'm ready to come through the screen right now. I'm thoroughly pissed off at you.
Really?
Eagles 2.
Eagles are 2. Yeah.
Why?
They got a bunch of Pro Bowlers still in that line. I know they had an injury.
Okay, we'll start at left tackle.
Whoops, my green screen's coming down.
Oh God.
Go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Even your green screen's mad at you for making that answer.
Go ahead. Say what you got to say. I'm listening.
So, as far as so starting at left tackle, Dillard or Thomas?
Thomas.
Left guard, I forget the guy's name. Wasn't that Brandon Brooks? I thought Brandon Brooks was left guard, but he might be right guard.
I think he's a right guard, but he's either a left or a right.
Because Vaitai is no longer on the team. I don't know the left guard.
They brought Peters back.
Peters at right guard, but starting at center, obviously you're going to give it to. It's back.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Whatever. So obviously Kleiss, we're going to give it to. Right guard. Peters has never played right guard. I know he's a Pro Bowler at left, but Zeitler or Peters, I give it to Zeitler.
I give it to Zeitler.
Yeah, and then right tackle. Obviously you're going to give it to what's his face there. Can't think of his friggin' name.
You know what? I think
it's a lot closer. I'm not saying it is. I mean, I'm kind of like half joking when I say, "Oh, why aren't the Giants second?" Because obviously it is the Eagles. They just have more proven guys on that line. Obviously, I'm half joking, but at the end of the day, yes, I do agree with your rankings. I was just going to give you.
Well, no, I definitely think the Giants could end up number 2 this year. I will say, but going in, I still got to. I mean, you look at the Giants' offensive line. As much as I'm amped up about it, I love that they spent all that attention on the offensive line by drafting 3 offensive linemen in the first five picks I think Andrew Thomas is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. We still have no center. Who's our center? We don't even know. Yeah, and Solder, could you really bank on Solder right now as being a guy that you really trust? So,
oh no, I definitely give the nod to Lane Johnson over Nate Solder at right tackle, obviously. But who's their left guard? Actually, it's bothering me. Chat, somebody let me know who is the left guard, because regardless of whoever the left guard is, I'm putting Hernandez over it.
I think the Giants could easily be number 2 by season's end, but going in, I'm still going to respect the Eagles.
No, for the Eagles, not for the Giants. If you're a Giants fan, you don't know who the left guard is, you're not a true Giants fan.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah, but I'm still going to give the Eagles the edge, if I'm being completely honest. But I do think that the Giants could pass them. And I'll say this. I think the Giants will have a better offensive line very soon than the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think there may be one more big player away from having one of the top 7 or 8 offensive lines in the sport.
Absolutely. Here's one. Even though rank me defensive lines 1 through 5. Even though somebody really didn't ask it, I think they were just saying
1 through 4. 1 through 4. I did a video on this.
We'll go old NFC East. Throw the Arizona Cardinals in there.
I did a video ranking the division at every position. The defensive lines in this division are really good.
All of them are cool. All of them are fine with me, and somebody's obviously got to be last. So we'll work our way backwards.
I got the Redskins 1, and that was the only position group where I had them. I think anything better than last. They might have been 3rd in another spot, but just the defensive line, I definitely believe in Chase Young.
But
I think
who is your last, like starting last?
You're not gonna like what I say. Giants fans ain't gonna like what I say. Giants. If we're talking just defensive line, I think but I still think the Giants might have a top 12 or 13 defensive line in the sport. And it's kind of apples and oranges because it's 3-4 versus 4-3. Yeah. But I have to respect. But the Cowboys brought in a couple of really strong defensive tackles this year in free agency.
Oh, yeah, they have McCoy and
Poe and McCoy. They still got Tank Lawrence.
Pass rushers are almost as mystery like us, besides Tank Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying the Giants could easily have the second best defense. They could even have the best defensive line by year's end. We don't know for sure what Chase Young is going to be. I think that is the closest position group in the entire division. I think you could make arguments for each one of the teams, but just because we lack a pass rusher, I would have a very close 4th.
Makes sense. Oh, so I read this today. This is an interesting question. And guys, feel free to ask your questions, by the way. They voted the NFC East the worst division in all of football. How do you feel about that one?
That I got to think about. All right, I saw that article, and I didn't really think about the other divisions. Let me think about the other divisions. Okay, you got the NFC West.
I think you could argue we are the worst in the NFC. The only one I could see maybe you argue is worse would probably be the North, and even again, I would have to give the nod to the North.
Let me think. West is clearly better in the NFC. South is close. The top 2 are definitely really good, but I think the Panthers suck, and I'm not a big believer in the Falcons. I think it's close, but I got to give them the nod because I think the Saints on paper are one of the best teams the sport has to offer, and I do think the Bucs will be a good team this year. So I'll give the South, I'll give the West, the North.
North is tough. It depends how high you rate the Vikings. Because to me, do you think the Vikings are behind or above the Eagles? Because this will determine it.
I'm going to tell you what, I'm not high on the Vikings at all.
Yeah.
But I'm actually higher on the Lions than most. So
I can see that. Believe me. And you know what? It's not because I drink the blue Kool-Aid like a lot of the Giants YouTubers that I know. And shout out to Gridiron Blitz, Micro Mike, and Troxel Sports, by the way. Awesome Giants content creator or Lions content creators.
A lot of people get on me for this. And I could look like a complete fool at the end of the year. The Lions are my deep sleeper this year. I could see the Lions winning 8 or 9 games this year. I think the North it's kind of like the East. I think it's a bunch of teams that could win between 4 and 10 games. They don't really have an unbelievable team in that division. The Packers, they won 13 games last year, but go back and look at their schedule. They skated by against some really bad teams. They didn't improve their team at all this entire offseason, and they kind of did what the Giants did in 2016, where they spent all that money in free agency last year, and it helped them for 1 year. You bring in Adrian Amos, you bring in Preston Smith, you bring in Zadarius Smith, and they filled in the holes. But now, this year, you drafted a backup quarterback in the first. You drafted a running back that everyone had pegged to be going in the 5th round. You didn't really add any significant pieces in free agency. I'm not that high on the Packers. I would say those divisions are a tie. I think the North and East are very close. The AFC?
The AFC, okay, so I think the AFC East is the weak by a large margin compared to all the rest of the divisions.
What about the
So
South?
it really boils down to AFC or NFC.
What about the AFC South? I don't think there's a great team in the South.
I don't think there's a great team in the South.
But there's a bunch of decent teams.
Yeah, it's like the Titans, I'd give a fighting chance against anybody. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
We watched both those games last year.
Yeah, you're right. The West, obviously.
I
The
mean,
Chiefs.
even the Texans, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm down on the Texans. Okay, yeah, they got rid of some weapons, but I still think they have a solid roster there. Like, nobody's going to.
And I actually like the Colts.
And I like the Colts, too.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Colts fan, but the worst team in that division is Jaguars, and I think it's worse than any other team in our division. But really, it's where you rate the Colts. Do you look at the Colts better than the Giants?
Yeah, no, yes, I do. I'm higher on the Colts than most people. I think the Colts are a playoff team. I like the Colts.
I think the class of that division right now is the Titans, in my personal opinion.
The Titans are a weird team, because before the prediction started coming out, I had it set in my head. The Titans are going to be the team that I am against this year. I think they're going to be overblown. People are going to ride them. Off their hot streak last year. They get 9-7. They get in the playoffs. They get on a nice streak. They go to the AFC title game, but then they lose Conklin. I'm like, can Tannehill do it another year, 2 years in a row? I was not high on the Titans, but I think it's almost gotten to a point now where everybody I see is kind of like, yeah, the Titans. I feel like people are sleeping on the Titans a little bit now, so I don't know what to think with them. I think all those teams that were kind of are in that 8 to 9 win area. The Colts, the Titans. Houston, I'm not as high on as some, but yeah, there's a lot of decent teams in that division. I'll say that. And the Titans, because of their running attack, like they showed last year, if they get on the right path, could be dangerous. So yeah, I'd put the South above them. The East, I think the Dolphins are incredibly overrated. I don't see it. I know they spent a lot of money in free agency. We don't even know if Tua is going to start. Fitzpatrick has a history of being on and off every other year. Last year, he did pretty decent for the Dolphins. He's like 40 years old. He's a journeyman quarterback. I don't see it. I'm not a big believer in the Dolphins. The Jets, I think, definitely had a good offseason. I think they definitely improved. But their offensive line is going to be better. I still don't believe in them being more of than a 7 or 8 win team. But I think I'd still give the East the edge because I think the Patriots are going to win 9 or 10 games. And I think the Bills are probably the 3rd or 4th best team in the AFC. So I actually don't disagree with that article. I'd probably give the NFCs a very slight edge to the North, but it's close. So, yeah, I'd say we're the 7th best division.
All right, there you go. Sports Reaction says, OGR, to you, both worst New York Giants head coach of all time. Try number 6. Ben McAdoo.
I appreciate the Dolphins. Ben McAdoo, yeah. I mean, Patrick.
We go Ray Hanley. No, I wouldn't be out of there. But for me, Ben McAdoo.
Here's the thing. If you go just based off of wins and losses, nobody's going to say Ben McAdoo, right? Because Ben McAdoo got him into the playoffs. And if you don't take into account that they spent a boatload, blah, 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 blah. But the reason Ben McAdoo, for me, is even worse than Pat Shurmur.
Oh, yeah.
The most important attribute for a head coach is having control of your football team. Ben McAdoo lost. The rails went off the hinges. And that was the most embarrassing season in NFL and New York Giants history, at least since I've been watching.
Absolutely. I've even with the seasons we've had since McAdoo, I've never wanted to bury my face in a pillow and just hide. I was embarrassed that offseason. I was embarrassed to wear Giants gear.
Yeah. Just the handling, and I'm not even just talking about the Eli Manning situation. That was embarrassing in itself, the way they handled that. You benched him for Geno Smith. You benched him for a career backup. Eli lost his streak for a career backup. You could have benched him for what's his name, the rookie quarterback that year. What's his name?
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now.
Rover loved him, but you could have benched him for him, but instead you picked Geno Smith. So that was horrible in its own right. But it wasn't even just that. It was everything. They lost the complete locker room that entire year. The team quit on them. And for me, that is It can't happen. So I actually agree. I think McAdoo's our worst coach.
Rank the wide receiver best to worst in the division. Mike Nixon wants to. David Webb, by the way. David Webb.
What was the question?
Rank the wide receiving corps best to worst. Right now, I got to give the nod to the Cowboys number one.
Oh yeah. But are we including tight ends in this or just wide receivers?
I'm just gonna wide receivers. Tight ends are like Lord Brunson had to explain to his fan base. Tight ends are not wide receivers.
Okay. If you're go ahead.
If I'm going straight wide receivers, I give the nod to the Cowboys. I'm taking the Giants wide receivers over the Eagles. Actually, maybe not, because Alshon and Deshaun. It's tough. I'm gonna have to give the nod to the Eagles now that I think about it, because Alshon and Deshaun, but they're more proven than the guys we have in our team. I mean, Golden Tate's right there with Deshaun, but it's hard. So I'm gonna have to go Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Redskins, obviously, especially with Harmon going down.
I'm going Cowboys by a mile. Like they're here, and second place is like here. But I'm going Cowboys 1. They might have the best receiving core in the game if CeeDee Lamb does what a lot of people think he could do. Giants are 2. I think the Giants are a definitive 2 if you don't include the tight end. I don't believe in Alshon Jeffrey. I think he's past his days. The Eagles fans wanted to cut him. Deshaun Jackson, to me, is a shell of himself at this point. The guy's an injury waiting to happen. And even if he stays healthy, you look back at Deshaun Jackson over the last 4 years, he's going to give you 2 or 3 great games. The rest of the games, he's going to do nothing. And you know what he's going to do. He's going to have his 2 great games against the Giants. But I'm taking the Giants receiving core. I think Golden Tate is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the sport. And I'm not trying to tell you he's a great wide receiver, but I don't think people realize that he's still a good receiver. Golden Tate last year would have had 9 or 10 touchdowns had he not been suspended. He had 6 touchdowns in 11 games. He was on pace to catch for 1,000 yards. He's one of the best yak guys in the sport. We don't have a number 1. Don't get me wrong, but neither do the Eagles. I don't believe in Jalen Reagor yet. I got to see it before I say that. Darius Slayton, to me, has just as much upside as Reagor does based off what we saw last year, if not more. And Shepard, I think, is a good receiver when he's healthy. So I would go Giants 2. I'd go Eagles 3. And I would go Redskins 4. But the Redskins obviously got a really talented receiver in their own right who may end up being one of the best receivers in this division by season's end with McLaurin. I got to see a lot more, though. And I know that they drafted Antonio Gandy-Golden, who a lot of Giants fans loved, but he was a 4th-round pick for a reason. He's a flyer. He went to Liberty. I can't put much stock into him, at least yet.
All right. I think both of us answered this a couple times, but I'll answer it again. Logic Talker wants to know which team had the best draft in the NFC East.
Best draft in the NFC East. Well, I'll tell you who had the worst. Eagles.
Oh, by far.
Eagles had the worst. Cowboys and Giants. It's close. Are the top 2 for me. But I
gotta give a nod to Giants.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I just looked through 1 through 7, and I'm more impressed. I mean, obviously everybody wants to point to CeeDee Lamb, but I mean, Lamb's just one player, really. I mean, they've had other guys, but
Cowboys had a good draft overall.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely, they did.
Yeah, the Cowboys had a strong draft. It's close, but those 2 teams, Washington had a decent draft too. But I would go. I'd say Giants and Cowboys are like tied, and then the Redskins are not that far off. They had a pretty strong draft. The Eagles are far and away the worst. The Eagles had the worst draft in the division, not close. And Giants and Cowboys had 2 of probably the top 7 or 8 drafts in the entire sport. They both had really good drafts, I thought.
Even though the Giants would never even be considered in that conversation right after the draft is over. I didn't see any really analysts saying how good of a draft we had.
You know why? First off, we're the New York Giants. New York, they hate us. Yeah. Nobody really bashed us. I mean,
nobody bashed us either, which is a good thing. When they don't bash us, that means
we had the best draft in the sport when they don't bash you, because they try to do everything they can to try to put down a New York team whenever they can. But no, I mean, the Giants, I thought, drafted not just for this year, which I loved. They drafted who they felt was the best available player. They didn't draft for need. And when you're in a situation that the New York Giants are in right now, that's the right approach, because we're not a year away. So you're better off trying to get the best possible players, regardless of position. I think, within reason, in the draft, because you look at a guy like Shane Lemieux, he may be a huge contributor for this team in 2 years. You look at a guy like Darnay Holmes, he could be a huge contributor for this team in 2 years. Giants drafted best player available, and I thought that was the right approach. I thought the Giants did a great job this entire offseason. I loved everything they did, start to finish this offseason.
Yeah, and TSR, no, I can't hand in the Slayton jersey because I can't find it.
Oh yeah.
He's absolutely handed the Slayton jersey because I'm so high in Slayton, yet I still pick the Philadelphia Eagles over the Giants as far as wide receiver core goes. But both have injury problems. I'm just saying Deshaun Jackson and Alshon have more distinguished careers. I mean, everybody who's picked the Giants over the Eagles, I'm not going to sit there and disagree with. You guys make great points. It's just I'm going over their whole entire career. Obviously, Alshon and Deshaun have been standouts, and that's why I vote the Eagles over it. On paper, they're better. Could the Giants be? Absolutely.
Right. I get that. Let's see what we got. Rank the secondaries in this division. All right, I'll let you start with that one.
Oh yeah, let me start with that one. Damn, this one's tough.
Yeah.
Washington to me has the worst.
I agree. Well, it's close, but they're at the back. I agree with that.
Even though it pains me I don't want to say it, but do I go Eagles? I think I have to go Eagles. Top. Every single one sucks, by the way. Every single one of them suck. I'll go Eagles number one because the Giants obviously have huge question marks and the Dallas Cowboys have huge question marks. I mean,
I would go. I actually, in my video, I picked the Giants one, and but I think it's a weak group. I think it's a weak group.
The secondary is a weak group for every single one.
That's what I mean. In terms of the division, there's not a great secondary. The Eagles.
So maybe you can go Cowboys with Chickadoo Awuzie, Clinton Dix, but even then, like they lost members. Like Byron Jones is a big loss. Jess Heath, even though Dallas Cowboy fans will laugh, are a big loss. Like it's hard for me to pick one. Honestly, they're all tied for last because they all suck.
Here's what I'll say. I think you could pick either the Eagles, Cowboys, or Giants. The Giants have a very young secondary, but in terms of upside, Giants have the best secondary. In terms of most potential, I think the Giants have the most potential of any secondary in this division. So I think we're all excited about the Giants secondary. It's just that they're young and inexperienced, and we don't know our second corner right now with Baker out, if he is out. But yeah, none of the teams in this division have a good secondary.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Eagles 1, Giants 2, Cowboys 3, Redskins 4.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
And what was yours?
Mine's Giants. Like
you had Giants 1,
Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Redskins.
All right.
Yeah, but you could flip a coin with those three teams. Really,
they all suck. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, there's a couple of.
We have number one, so I don't think anybody's going to answer it.
There's a couple of positional groups in the division that I think are clear-cut number ones. I think the Cowboys clearly have the best wide receiver group. I think the Cowboys clearly have the best linebacker group. I think the Cowboys clearly have the best offensive line. I
think we need to rate this one. J-Wad says best criminals in the division. I'm going to have to go Redskins 1, the whole team. I'm going to go Giants 2. I'm going to go Dallas 3, Eagles 4.
Okay, are we including fans?
If we're including fans,
Eagles are 1.
Eagles 1, but no, we're not going to include fans. We're going to include players.
I'm just kidding. If we're I'll go. Giants are pretty close. I mean, the Giants have had definitely some criminals here this year. I'll go.
Yeah, but we don't have multiple personnel that's been accused of sexual assault.
Yeah, Redskins are 1. Redskins are 1. They've earned that title. I'll go Redskins 1, Giants 2, Cowboys 3, and the Eagles 4. But if you include the fans, the Eagles are by far the worst.
And Nick the Wick wants to know, when is your members only stream?
Yeah, that'll probably. I got to find out a day. I'll post that in the community notes. That'll probably be within this week. I'm going to be live tomorrow. I'm going to be doing the Met game. I saw that. I think Bad Dog said he's got family stuff. I'm going to be doing the Met game tomorrow, Met Yankee. I'm probably going to have a Q&A on Sunday outside of the Met Yankee game because I haven't had a Q&A on my channel in a while. So I'll probably do the Met Yankee game, and then I'll probably do a Q&A on Sunday.
Can you do me a favor too?
Yo,
send me the link to join your member. I cannot join I used to be a member, and now I can't find it. Send me the link at some point.
I'll have to figure that out. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll have to figure it out and give it to you. So yeah, I'll be live Saturday. I'll be live Sunday, And then I'll probably have a member stream sometime next week. I'll let you guys know. I don't know the day yet, but I'll have a member stream sometime next week.
So I'm just going to answer LA Lou because it's going to be real quick. Off topic, OGR. How are the Red Sox looking? Average.
Yeah, I think average is the right word. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Yankees are
average to the potential to be a good or above average team because a lot of people underrate the amount of poundage on that team as far as ball. I think they still have a very good hitting team even with the loss of Mookie Betts. I believe Rafael Devers is going to have a huge season, and Chavez at first base is going to be a very big part of the Red Sox. Like the Red Sox have a very good lineup. The biggest question is their rotation. No sports reaction. They don't stink.
Well, Price isn't playing, right?
Price is gone. He's the LA Dodger now.
Oh, that's right. He's a Dodger now. The Red Sox to me, that's the Yankees division.
No. It should be the Yankees division. If the Yankees don't win the division, that's probably one of the most even with 60 games, it's the most disappointing season by far I've ever seen. Like they should dominate.
I think the best division is actually the Mets division. The Yankees are the best team overall. But the National League East has a lot of really good teams, which sucks because we also got to play the American League East, who has some good teams. So Mets are playing a really tough schedule. But yeah, I think the Yankees are far and away the best team in the American League East.
Actually, probably the best team in the American League, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, maybe in baseball.
Maybe behind the Dodgers, we'll see though.
Yeah.
Steelers and Titans are the most overrated teams in the league. Oh, here we go. From first to worst, name me the most delusional fan bases in the NFC East. This one's a fun one.
Oh wow.
Oh, this one's easy.
Eagles are the most delusional.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't have a big enough pulse on the Redskins fan base. I've only got a handful of Redskins fans that I really talk to.
Well, we already know they're kind of delusional because they think Dwayne Haskins is better than Daniel Jones.
Well, that's true.
And every single one that goes on any NFC East roundtable I've seen, not just Bad Dogs channel, just any NFC roundtable, all of them say Dwayne Haskins is better than Daniel Jones. You are out of your mind. Even Louis T is out of his mind, but it's okay. It's okay. We forgive him.
I'll say, I mean, to me, it's the Eagles are clear. The Cowboys are, I don't know if the Cowboys fans are delusional. They're just all bandwagon fans.
Yeah, they're all bandwagon fans, but every year they're winning the Super Bowl. Every year it's the best. Like, it all starts right around this time. Hey, we're looking good this year. Super Bowl. You've been saying that for 25 years. Where is it?
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Eagles 1, Cowboys 2. I'm going to go Redskins only because of the Haskins factor, 3, and the Giants 4. I think we are the most realistic fan base, and we should be because of how bad our team has been. You know, the more winning you do, the more delusional you become.
I agree with that, but I will say Giants fans are not completely innocent. We definitely have a lot of delusional fans as well. But I will say I probably agree with that list.
Jeffrey Abbey and Clocks being two of them. I love Jeffrey Abbey and Clocks. And LA Lou, what's going on? Obviously a very, very good YouTube supporter as well.
What's up, Lou? Thanks for popping in.
Has Eagles, Cowboys, tie the Giants, and Skins. Stop giving Skins fans credit. Stop it. Sweep under the rug. I mean, we own the Redskins. We're the only team in the NFL to have 100 wins against an organization, and that is the Redskins. So,
I got a hot take for you. I'm curious. I'm curious to get your opinion on this. Yeah. I was talking to a Redskins guy in my Discord yesterday or 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Joe Gibbs did might be the greatest accomplishment ever for a head coach in NFL history. What do you think? He won 3 Super Bowls in like an 8-year stretch with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yep. Which is awesome. Yeah. That's one of the greatest. Yeah. I would definitely put it up there. But I mean, as far as terms of dominance, I put like more dominant teams ahead of that, but that's certainly impressive.
Yeah. The fact that Belichick did it after the salary cap era is what makes it probably the most impressive.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
that's what it makes me believe that you can still build a dynasty even in this era.
Yeah, but I think Gibbs is overlooked a lot when it comes to talking about all-time great coaches.
It's you know why? Because when he came back, he was so bad.
That's true. Yeah.
Had he just stayed retired, he might be up there.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised he really did come out of retirement. Honestly, that was the most shocking thing for me.
Yeah, he was kind of done at that point. He was in the NASCAR, right? And then he came back. He started coaching again. Yeah, he probably should have just stayed put. It kind of hurt his legacy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Go ahead.
Gibbs ranked ahead of Parcells all time? No.
I can't say it. As a Giants fan, there's no way I'm saying it. I think they're close, but no, I got to go Parcells, and that's not just being biased. Parcells
just did it with more teams. He has more of a sample size.
He's got more of a sample size.
He went to, he's turned around, and that's the only reason I say it. Obviously, Gibbs has more Super Bowls, but
the other thing, look who Belichick, right? Belichick learned under Parcells. So did Coughlin. You're talking about two of the greatest coaches ever. You know, his coaching tree is also incredibly impressive. And then you factor in that he went to New England, got them to a Super Bowl. He went to the Jets, got them near to a Super Bowl after they were a one-win team. So, yeah, I think I think Gibbs is close, but I would put Parcells above him.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gibbs has won 3 or 4 NASCAR championships as well.
It's a good coach.
You put him, with the NASCAR in there, do you put him over Parcells?
To me, NASCAR is not a sport, so no.
The truck's gonna start bailing. It's gonna start bailing. I'm sorry. Have you ever tried to drive at 200 miles an hour around Talladega?
Yeah, well, actually, yesterday I was
from another car.
Yesterday I was training to be in the Daytona 500. I went around the block a few times. So
really? How's the bank in how's the banking in New York?
It's I'm learning. You know, I was going about 40. I got to get it up to about 200, but I'm working on my NASCAR. I'm getting good at the left turn.
So Gabriel S. says, because we're apparently on NASCAR, this has turned into a NASCAR stream. Dale Earnhardt, the original Dale Earnhardt, not Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Richard Petty.
I mean, I know both names. I don't know much.
Richard Petty's the most winningest NASCAR driver of all time, and obviously Dale Earnhardt
passed away. And
passed away. Had he not been, he could have earned it.
Yeah, I'll go Earnhardt. I think he's the biggest name. But I know obviously Petty was huge too. But I'll go Earnhardt. When I think NASCAR, I'm a little younger, I guess, than some people. Jeff Gordon comes to my mind, and Dale Earnhardt comes to my mind when I think about NASCAR.
And you know what? And as it should, because the Intimidator is the most popular NASCAR driver I think ever, really. And in my time, Bill Elliott's pretty up there. And who else? Obviously Richard Petty's up there. But Dale Earnhardt's the only one that actually has an actual hauler still going around in NASCAR events where you can still buy his memorabilia, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I was in New Hampshire was 7-8 years ago.
That's one thing I want to do. I definitely want to go to a NASCAR event live.
Dude, I'm telling you, you really get an appreciation for those guys going around the track when you see them coming up or off that turn, and they're literally, when they're turning, it's literally going up the track because they're sliding up the track, and they're still keeping it under control at 150, 120 miles an hour. Just wear earplugs. It's loud as fuck.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And not to mention, you've got to get a scanner. Because the funniest thing is listening to these NASCAR drivers just swear like banshees. The best moment I've ever seen in a live NASCAR race, I'm going on a tangent here, is so Juan Pablo Montoya was a former open wheel driver, competed in Indy Series. He came over to NASCAR. He went up against so Kyle Busch is not the biggest, a lot of people hate him. He's like the modern day bad guy. Right. But anyways, he spun out Juan Pablo Montoya. So under caution, Juan Pablo Montoya went into the pits, new tires, new gas, came out of the pits, and rammed Kyle Busch right into the wall. It was awesome. The whole stand erupted. It was great.
Yeah, I've never gotten into it, man, but I would like to go to it live. I have a lot of friends who tell me that they love going to it live.
Apparently we have NASCAR fans because people are pouring in. I'm just watching the views and whatnot just go up.
You got to change your channel name.
Yeah. OGR talks NASCAR.
OGR NASCAR talk.
Who has the best moss hair in the Giants YouTube division? Well, it's definitely not me. I'm rating myself last with Bad Dog. We're tied for last.
I got grays, but I got hair.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm actually going to go Noah Cahill 1.
Noah Cahill's got good. Yeah.
I'm gonna go TSR 3, Kid Blue 4, me and Bad Dog 5 and 6.
I'd go. I mean, you've got more hair than Bad Dog, so Bad Dog's last.
I did put Bad Dog last.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Yeah, because Bad Dog's bald. So, Kid Blue's got nice hair. He's got good moss.
OGR Sports, serious question for Tana and you. Get to pick one channel to have a video go viral. You pick the sport or movie channel.
Ooh.
PewDiePie.
Ooh, I like that sports reaction. Well, right now, you know, Rich, by the way, if anybody has not checked out my movie channel, go and check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's with my brother.
I should have actually, I apologize. I should have put that.
No, not at all. Not at all. You kidding me? There's a sports talk. I'm just saying. It's just something new I'm starting with my brother. When I first started YouTube, I've talked to Rich about this because Rich was kind of the opposite. He started making a movie channel, then he went to sports. I'm sticking with sports, obviously. I love talking about.
Well, Rich is more or less combined his movie channel.
Yeah, he kind of has that.
I've actually told him, I was like, bro, you should just go TSR Media because you really have expanded beyond that. But he is obviously a hardcore sports fan. So
yeah, I love my sports channel, and I can't wait to keep growing that. Once football's back and giving you guys 3 videos a day and being a lunatic, but. My other passion was movies, and I always wanted to do it. My brother brought up the idea to me. I said, why the hell not? Let's go for it. So, we still haven't really gotten a direction yet, because there's no new movies coming out. We're definitely going to focus on new movies and reviews and trailer reactions and stuff. But if I had to pick one, because it's not established, I'd pick the movie channel, because it would help me grow. So, I'd pick a viral movie video. Yeah.
Nathan Poland, what's going on? Giants Alliance, what's going on? And also, the Giants Alliance, I need somebody for next week. I mean, you're more than welcome to come on the Big Blue Courtroom. So,
Giants Alliance, by the way, is awesome.
Yeah, he is. Awesome show.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love that guy. He's been on my channel a couple times.
Somebody wants me to rate nose hair in the division. As far as YouTubers go, I mean, I'll throw it in there. Bad Dog 1, by the way.
Bad Dog's got good nose. I've never really.
I've never noticed it either, but I'm gonna put Bad Dog 1.
He probably has good nose hair.
Yeah, solid nose hair right there.
Yeah.
This is getting silly. This is getting absolutely. It's talking nonsense with OGR Entertainah. It's devolved. This is why I don't like to go more than an hour. I honestly don't. It just turns into absolute nonsense. It really does. I mean, I'm glad people would stick around and enjoy it, but it is just absolute garbage right now. No, I'm joking.
Hey,
I appreciate it. I mean, you coming on and just being able to
of course, man.
Absolutely.
Of course, man. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here. But yeah, what's going on? And in the season, I look forward to working with you more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Let's see what we got here. Serious question: is Caden Smith for real?
Yeah, I would definitely think Caden Smith's for real. You know what? Actually, man, he's just good at highlight videos. But Mike Too Nice, I just watched the Caden Smith highlight video, and I know it's just highlights, but you just see him sit down in a zone. You see him just he's getting to be a better pass rusher. I think that proved at the end of the last season, and I just think he's a better blocker. He's the old school tight end that I always liked, and I like him better than Evan Ingram because the best ability is availability, and obviously Caden Smith I think is going to be there.
I agree. I'm not going to say he's a superstar, but I think he's definitely if and when he gets the opportunity. Yeah, I think he's going to be a well-rounded tight end. If Evan Ingram's not on the team, I think he's fully capable, like Giants Alliance just said, of being a guy like Jake Ballard, Kevin Boss, a guy that could block, a guy that can make the catches when they need to be made, get you 500-600 yards, be a good blocker. I think that's the type of player Caden Smith could be. He showed last year that he had great chemistry with Daniel Jones. There's no reason to think he can't be a solid, well-rounded tight end. He was drafted for his blocking ability, not for his pass-catching ability. So we already know he's a solid blocker. Yes, I definitely think Caden Smith could be a good tight end.
Yes, Asia. Going with what Bad Dog said, it stands for one giant rebel. Okay, yep. So Logic says O'Shane is going to be working with OC, by the way. Either you think it will have any significant impact on his play?
Yeah, you know the funniest thing about that? Alex from Fireside Giants.
Yeah. I saw the video. You mentioned it in your video today.
Yeah, you go on Twitter. He posted the tweets, he added both of them. He added Oshie Umenyiora and he added O'Shane, and he said, O'Shane, you could really get some help from Oshie Umenyiora. He had great technique. Maybe he could show you something. And then O'Shane wrote on the tweet, he said, I'm going to DM you right now. And then Oshie said, okay, cool. So he was the reason that story even happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but as far as O'Shane Ximines goes, who knows? I mean, it can't hurt. I mean, Oshie Umenyiora was one of our best edge rushers we've had in the last 20 years. So the guy definitely had great moves. I always think about a guy that was great at stripping the quarterback. That's what Oshie Umenyiora was great at, and probably one of our best pure pass rushers. Better pure pass rusher than even a guy like Justin Tuck. Oshie was great at getting after the quarterback. So, yeah, why not? Why couldn't he help him? I'm not, who knows, how much of an effect it'll have, but it can't hurt. That's for sure.
So Afghanistan says, OGR, who would you have winning Usman versus Burns? I have Usman like you, only because I can't stand him, but I gotta believe that guy is talented as all hell. That was a UFC question. If you didn't,
yeah, I don't know nothing. I'm gonna go with Burns.
And that is the Entertainah's expert opinion.
Yeah, Burns is great. He's got big fists. He can fight. I'm going with him.
All right, here you go. Bad Dog says OGR used to rebuttal what Giants videos maker said. Actually, not just Giants video makers. I've rebutted quite a few people, but yes, it was Giants video makers. And then I just realized that honestly, rebutting is just tough. Like, I just don't want to just at that point I would have seemed like a hater. But yes, I've rebutted Entertainah. I've rebutted Bad Dog. I've rebutted Pizzle. I've rebutted Mike Too Nice. I think almost every major Giants YouTuber I've come across.
Who did you rebut the most? What's his name? Big Blue Unbiased.
Oh yeah, Big. I couldn't stand him at the time. You know what? I grew to respect that kid.
I'll tell you what. I think he is. When you watch him, and I don't agree with a lot of things he says, very intelligent.
Oh,
very, very intelligent, and that's anybody. Like I always say when people
come.
Who
I got to reach out to. I'm gonna. You know what? For the Big Blue Port Room, I'm determined to bring him on.
I like him. I like I said, I don't like how he bashes Eli every chance he gets, but I think he's really smart. I think he's really intelligent. I think he brings up a lot of good points in his videos. Yeah.
But honestly, I think it's just a really good spot to end it. I enjoyed having you on. I mean, we love working together, but go ahead and close it out, my man.
Listen, I always love working with anybody in the Giants community, especially you, Jeff. Man, you've always been incredibly supportive for my channel. It was a pleasure getting to meet you at the Giants game, and it probably won't happen this year, but I look forward to going to another Giant game with you, and hopefully some fans and other Giants content creators, and hopefully we get to go to an NFL draft together when things get back to normal. Maybe if they have one this year. But yeah, man, I had an absolute blast coming on. Looking forward to doing this again. Whether you come on my channel or I come on yours, and thanks for having me on. And now I gotta take a little break. I gotta go on Bad Dogs at 10. So I figured I'd pop on here after my movie stream, and then we're gonna do a triple header too.
And I appreciate it because obviously you've gone back to back to back here. But really quick, OGR, he wants me to point this out to you, and I will. So TSR's biggest viewed video, I said the video was irrelevant. I don't understand why you're doing this. It's his biggest viewed video on his channel. So he says, if you want to blow up on YouTube, have me comment how irrelevant whatever you're doing is, and instantly become the biggest thing viewed on YouTube.
Well, it was like a women's soccer thing, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So Asia Roberts says, how about Fitz Vegas? To me, respect him, but to me, it's microwave content. He just goes whatever the popular opinion is, and he just writes about it, and he makes a strong opinion about it, and people love it. Brandon Rogers said he loved it, and I'm not going to knock anybody loving it, but the guy doesn't stand by his teams, and I think it says a lot about somebody, the person, by not standing by it. Like, I have more respect for somebody like Tana, who says, I'm a diehard Knicks fan, I'm a diehard Mets fan, I'm a diehard Giants fan to the day I die, than somebody who's just like, yo, I'm rooting for the Saints because Giants suck. It's just the way I feel. I mean, it just says more about you as a person. Not to say Fitz Vegas is a bad person. I mean, from what I've heard off stream, he's a great, nice dude. He's totally different from what he is on camera. But hey, it is what it is. I'm just not the biggest Fitz Vegas fan. But guys, I love having you on, I love having you on, and I love having people in the chat. All that being said, it's been OGR, and I'll catch you on the next vid, guys.